Imagine getting up every day full of energy as if you were in your 20s again. What would that be like? What would it be worth to you? What is your health worth to you? Think about it. Your health isn't everything, but without it, everything else is nothing. And yet, too many of us are taking it for granted until something goes wrong. And no one wakes up hoping to be diagnosed with a disease or chronic illness. And yet, we've never been taught how to be proactive in our health through our school or public health. As a registered health coach and integrative health practitioner, I believe it's time this information is made available to everyone. Combining new knowledge around your health and the ability to do my functional medicine lab tests in the comfort of your own home will allow you to optimize your health for today and all your tomorrows. Don't wait for your wake-up call. Welcome back to another episode of the Don't Wait for Your Wake-Up Call podcast. I am Melissa Deely, your host, and today I have two fabulous guests with me here, Dr. Liz Bolin and Dr. Toni Reed. Welcome to both of you.
Thanks, Melissa.
I'm excited to share your wisdom, your expertise with my audience. And I just want to do little tiny intros for the audience and then have you guys introduce yourselves. So I'm going to start with you, Dr. Liz. Dr. Liz Bolin is an adventurous woman who broke free from conventional paradigms in order to liberate a new era in health, which is what we're going to be talking about today. But Dr. Liz, please just introduce yourself and share a little bit of your journey as to how you got to where you're at today.
Of course. So it's always weird to hear that said, and I'm owning it now.
Yay.
So I started as an ND. I started in the naturopathic and wellness area, and I ended up still not being able to get over my complex PTSD and anxiety. So I had to go even further down a rabbit hole. And the further I went down that rabbit hole, I realized that the entire wellness industry needed an overhaul, and I needed to do something. I had that calling. I needed to do something different. And then I needed to bring in help, and I needed support, and we needed to have this full revamp of what's going on so we can show up finally healed. That's kind of how I ended up here, from say naturopathic into integrative quantum medicine. And it's been an amazing and wonderful self journey first. And you guys have done it.
And of course, it's so important to be healing yourself first. You walk the walk of what you're talking to your patients and your clients.
Always.
It's the only way.
Only.
And introducing Dr. Toni. Dr. Toni is a licensed naturopathic doctor, integrative quantum health practitioner, hypnobirthing childbirth educator, and co-host of the Perimenopausal Mamas podcast. Dr. Toni, please share your journey coming through as a naturopathic doctor, what led you to that, and where you're at today.
Well, I'll give you the Coles Notes version right now, because I could go into like lengths, but really, for me, my health journey really started young, and it started physically in the physical body with symptoms. Like I had digestive issues as a child, and of course went to doctors. They just didn't have any answers. Then I started getting migraines when I was a teenager. And that really had me really question, like, well, why? I went to the doctor, got a diagnosis, got medication, didn't help me. And it just didn't make sense to go that route. And I was just really curious, well, like, why me? Why am I getting migraines? Why is no one else in my family getting migraines? Why are none of my friends getting migraines? And so that really led me to using more natural approaches to manage that. And so once I went through my undergraduate degree in biochemistry and was like, well, okay, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? Instead of necessarily conventional medicine, it's like, okay, well, let's look at, what I'm really passionate about and have that be my career. And again, that's 16 years ago, becoming a naturopathic doctor and really like fully living this philosophy And of course, that was just kind of the start, the drop in the bucket, going to school. And, the journey continues and the learning continues. And I'm, again, super grateful for that, because that has absolutely impacted my health, looking at more deeper into a mind-body medicine connection. And again, that's where really full, true healing lies. So yeah, that's a bit about me.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. And, we have a similar path. I too struggled with migraines. And like you, I was asking why, not just accepting more medication, but getting curious around what's going on here. And if I understand the why, then I can do something about it. And you too, Liz, you were, wanting to understand that deeper why of the PTSD and not just accepting this is how it is. And I think that's really the message that I love to share in this podcast overall, is letting people understand that they can ask questions about the symptoms their body is giving them, and getting curious and asking why is this showing up, and getting to that deeper underlying root cause of it. So I love how similar journeys through all of us, just asking why, has brought us to this holistic side of health and digging deeper into mind-body health, as well as our own desire to keep learning. And that's a powerful thing too. I remember hearing years ago, we're put on this earth to find our passion, to be of service, and never stop learning. And I love to live by those 3 pillars every single day. So I'm going to come back to you, Dr. Liz. You mentioned a little bit getting into quantum healing. Talk to me more about that, what that means to you, and how that has brought you into this place where we all have this Bolin Health Institute banner behind us with the phrase virtual healing hub on it, because this is your brainchild. So please share.
So as I said, a lot of my journey, I did myself, and then I shared with others. And I took what I learned, hard or easy, throughout the journey. And I thought it was a valuable piece to bring others along. So when I was overcoming the PTSD and the anxiety and searching for something that was different, I knew that there was something here, and I knew it was a rabbit hole that I had not been taught. And as you said, that curiosity, that unwillingness to stay stuck and accept what someone had told me, knowing that there's a different option out there that works for me, really drove me. And then I found my own coach who changed my life. And then I went to go get the tools that actually changed my life so I could do that for others. And the tools I'm talking about are neurolinguistic programming, timeline therapy, hypnotherapy, and NLP results coaching. And they changed my world in a way that I had never seen in Western or in the alternative healthcare realm. And then I decided that, after long arguments with myself, that I was going to step out of my comfort zone and share it with other practitioners. So the Institute was born. I had to step out of I'm going to do this one-on-one. I'm going to hide a little bit and go covertly and pretend that, I'll keep it on the down low. And then I stepped out, made myself very uncomfortable, and started talking to other practitioners who were very similar to me, but a very similar journey. And honestly and authentically told them my story and what I had experienced, so they could go through the similar journey that I did. Because when you're healing people and working with them, the key point is that we're your guide. You do your own work, but we guided you because we've done that journey. And we lead you down to your authenticity and what actually works for you so you can heal. We focus on the behaviors, we hold you accountable, and we shift a paradigm. So that happened. The Institute was born. And then as I grew and had more people coming in, I needed to open up the Healing Hub, and I needed to take amazing people that had gone through a similar journey so that we could spread it. So now it's the time to actually spread what quantum healing is, what integrative mind-body medicine can do for you, and put you on your right path. So we're looking at not just bringing awarenesses into your life, but we're looking at how do you actually get past what you have been labeled as, what diagnosis you've been given, because you're more than that. That isn't the end goal. It isn't just, okay, this is what's wrong with me. It's past that. It's how do I actually get past that diagnosis that's keeping me in a place that I dislike, I even hate, and I want more. I want my life back. And that's where the integrative quantum medicine comes in, because you'll actually go through your entire healing journey. And that needed to be shared. So the love child organically was born with you two, actually.
Yay.
And I love that journey and how it just organically built as you grew. Each time you stepped outside your comfort zone, which of course is the only place growth happens, you grew, and then you had greater capacity to be able to do more. And so the ripple effect of the work that you're doing now is really unknown, because it's no longer just one-to-one. You're teaching these tools to others in group settings, and then also creating the virtual healing hub where, as more people are coming in, we three right now, and it will continue to grow as well, are working with more and more people, helping them break through whatever is holding them stuck. And unfortunately, too many people stay stuck because they don't know there's options to get unstuck, or they don't know how. And that's why we have this podcast and we're out there sharing this, is so people know that they have a choice. They don't have to stay stuck.
And most importantly is that at the end of the day, they know they did it.
Yes.
There's none of this, the practitioner did it for you. You stand strong and in a powerful stance that you healed yourself, and you'll continue to heal, though you have the skills and tool sets that you need to continue on your journey. I think is a huge piece of that too, where the stuckness doesn't have to stay there and doesn't come back. It just becomes something more manageable.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I love that we're working with all the bodies in this work as well. We're not just addressing the physical body. We do address the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual body, because as I've said on this podcast before, by the time the symptoms show up in the physical body, they've already moved through the other three bodies. And yes, we can heal the physical body, but if we don't go back and heal the other three bodies, sometime down the road, we might have more symptoms relating to the same original issue because we haven't healed it in the emotional body or the mental body or the spiritual body. So this is really powerful work, and it's not work that takes a long time. It's very quick, very quick. And so, Dr. Toni, I would love to ask you why you chose to continue on from being a naturopathic doctor into this realm of quantum healing, and what you've experienced personally as a result, if you don't mind sharing.
Absolutely. You know, I love my tools as a naturopathic doctor, and I've always seen the education that I received as a naturopathic doctor as like a foundation. And I knew even, when I completed that training and became a naturopathic doctor, that, I am definitely someone who really embraces learning and continuing education and growth, sometimes as uncomfortable as that can be. And so, once I was done my training as a naturopathic doctor and was practicing, I really started to embrace this idea of I had to do my own work and had to deal with my own stuff. And especially, again, that kind of idea of like dealing with stress. And okay, well, like, where does that come from? How was that manifesting for me? I didn't want to burn out. And I've definitely been on the edge a few times. So I really knew that I needed to do a deep dive into emotional work. And then especially as I was getting into my late 30s, I knew I still wanted to become a mother. So I knew that there was some work for me to do there. I used all my naturopathic tools, and I really wanted to get everything out of the way. I didn't want any block that could prevent that goal from happening. So I knew that I just needed to dive a bit deeper. And so that was really uncovering intergenerational trauma, emotional blocks, and also, becoming pregnant and then actually having children, was a whole extra step. And I'd seen patients who had used hypnobirthing, which is just a great program that uses self-hypnosis. It is about tapping into that power of the mind to get out of the way of what the body knows how to do. And so that's where I really jumped into that, love teaching that, used that to have a really remarkable birth experience. And then it was like, okay, now I'm a mom, and now what? So again, just that growth and that work continued, thankfully, with already experiencing some of that amazing mind-body connection and tools with hypnobirthing. I, of course, coincidentally stumbled upon Dr. Liz, and then again, like the rest is history. As soon as I started that process of doing more learning and training into hypnotherapy and then neurolinguistic programming, timeline therapy, it really did open doors in terms of really looking at what was still in my way, in terms of the service and the purpose, the mission that I have to support, especially, women, busy moms, women who are stuck in overwhelm. That really was where I was at, and being able to really shift how I think about things, how I go about my day, recognizing those areas where, people pleasing and self-doubt and all of those expectations and all of the outside noise can just create so much anxiety and overwhelm. Being able to be really more free of that has been really remarkable and life-changing in terms of, again, really truly impacting my migraines, and also, again, other pain in my body too. So it's just really been profound in terms of my healing journey, and I'm so excited to be able to support other people along their health journey with these really remarkable quantum health tools too.
And I absolutely love what you've shared there, because it really shows how some of the things that are getting in our way, that are causing, whether it's pain in our body or having us be stuck, are things that are so deeply embedded that we don't know they're there until somebody on the outside can point it out to us, like the people pleasing, because that was just your innate nature from when you were a really young child. You don't even acknowledge that it's a thing until someone else points it out to you, right?
For sure. No, I was just nice.
Exactly. And how many other women are in the exact same boat and don't realize it, and they're wondering why they have pain, or why they have low energy, or why they have migraines, or why they feel stuck, right?
Yeah. And yeah, like your niceness is like slowly killing you, and slowly really preventing who you are really meant to be.
Right. And we're also saying, not necessarily saying don't be nice, although we prefer to say be kind.
That's something different. Stalled. It's be kind. There's a different set of behaviors with kind versus nice.
Exactly. And when we're nice, it's at the expense of ourselves. Yeah. Right. So that's where, to your point, you're kind of slowly killing yourself. So profound results for you as a result of finding these additional tools. And I have a question for you too. When you were talking about the hypnobirthing, did you learn hypnobirthing and teach it before you had your own child, or did you learn it for your own birth, and then now you're teaching it as a result of your own really positive birthing experience?
I love that question, Melissa, because especially as Dr. Liz was kind of talking about her journey, I was thinking, I think I just realized, oh yeah, and I'm sure I've realized this before, that typically for my healing journey, part of it is, oh, I'm going to learn that for other people and for me at the same time. So I was actually pregnant when I trained as a hypnobirthing childbirth educator, because I knew I needed to use it for myself. And I knew that because I had seen other women use it. So I knew that it provided such profound results that I knew I was going to share it with other people. So it was that piece where it was like hand in hand right at the same time. Pretty similar to, again, my journey with Dr. Liz and quantum healing tools too, is like, I'm doing this for me and I'm doing this for other people as well at the same time.
And I love that. And I think that's what's very common amongst heart-centered healers, is that we are learning for our benefit and others, or sometimes we might stumble into learning that is of benefit to us. And as soon as we learn it, we go, oh, I have to share this with others. Right. And I know all three of us do that all the time, as do many other healers. And I'm so grateful that you're both here on the show sharing this, because I've actually been asked, when I asked for feedback about the podcast, I've been asked to have more practitioners on the show. So that's been something I've been really focusing on doing in 2023, because of course there isn't just one way to heal, but there are really profound tools that we can use. And that's what quantum healing is all about, is really giving us access to the most powerful mind-body tools on the planet. So Dr. Liz, I would love you to share either your own experience or a client experience of coming through a full breakthrough session with you.
Okay, I'll talk about mine, because I feel like my clients have their own, and that's their stuff to talk. And since I went through it before I learned it, I get to talk from the client perspective.
Wonderful. Thank you.
So I remember doing a Google search for Hail Mary at the time, because my anxiety attacks had gotten so bad I didn't feel safe to walk outside the door, and I was not safe inside my home. So I did a Hail Mary, and Google has divine intervention. I went hypnotherapy because it was a voodoo I didn't do as a naturopath, and nothing naturopathically was working. So I'm like, I do voodoo, you do different voodoo, the voodoos will work together. And I ended up the very first one on Google, who did not use any marketing, who did not use anything, just was a quantum practitioner, popped up, was near me, and I pressed on her link and called her immediately. And she told me that she could guarantee her results in writing, and I would never have another anxiety attack in my life. And I thought she was on things. And I wondered what drugs I could get because it seemed to help her. And she's just like, it's guaranteed money back, contract in. What do you have to lose? And she challenged me. I was like, the only thing I have to lose right now at this point is my anxiety attacks. And that's what I'm looking to do. I'm tired of living with it. I'm tired of this being my norm. This is not how I'm going to spend the rest of my life. Why not? So I went in. Then she told me it was 10 hours. Again, I looked at her going, I didn't learn that as a naturopath. I learned however long you've had it. And at that point, I was around 25. And I had it since I was, 7. And I went, that's how long it's roughly going to take you to fully heal from it. So she's like, 10 hours. I went, okay, I'm going to give it a shot. None of this makes sense to me. I don't care. I had a doctor in front of my name at the point already. I don't care. Let's go through. I trust you. Big leap of faith. And then 10 hours later, she delivered on her guarantee. I never had an actual anxiety attack in the last almost decade. I have never had an anxiety attack, and I have gone through living in the Arctic, isolated. I've gone through an abusive marriage, and not a single time has an anxiety attack come back. I cannot do them anymore. I have taken them out of my repertoire. And through those 10 hours, It was some of the most authentic, vulnerable healing I think I've ever done. I actually ended up with a tattoo that says vulnerability is strength. And I was the type that went through very masculine and went, I can get this stuff done. There is no such thing. Vulnerability was weakness at one point. And within those 10 hours, and it wasn't even toward the end, it was toward the beginning, I had seen such a profound shift. We're living vulnerably. We're being able to take down the mask of protection, or in my case, the armor I was using to keep myself safe, was taken out in an hour through timeline therapy. I was able to put the emotional armor, it was way past a backpack. I was able to put the emotional armor down and sit here and go, I want what I want, and I don't want to have to walk around being unsafe at all times. I'm finally ready to heal. And then it kept going. It was like, that was the first step. And then the next step came in where we worked on all of my unconscious strategies of how I was doing what I was doing, that my anxiety actually served a purpose in my life. And it blew my mind. I meant, what do you mean my health condition serves a purpose? And I healed from that. I went, well, that no longer serves me, so I'm going to let that go too. And then they put in some cool NLP tools. And then they took out my triggers. So when I went through life, when that came up again, it wouldn't trigger that. It triggered my healing neural network, and that it was going to change. And then she did hypno again on that. So everything went into this beautiful, glorious, easy way of moving forward, where I got new behaviors put in that were foreign to me. And when I started doing them, it was significantly gentler. It took down the learning curve of learning how to do my life completely differently than I expected it. It made me feel supported in taking those steps. And in the beginning, it was a baby step because the perfectionist, what do you mean? And then the more I did it supported, the perfectionism started to drop. And by the end of those 10 hours, which I swear wasn't 10 hours, I sat here going, what do you mean? What do you mean we're done? And she goes, trust yourself. Now it's time that you take that journey outside of it and go use what we have been given, and then keep in contact with me. And it was really profound. It was something I have never seen, felt, or from any other doctors or any other type of healing. So I have a bunch of different other healing modalities that are not just naturopathic. And it was unique, and it caught my attention. And it was something that changed my life. And to this very day, I am still very grateful for. I'm even grateful for having the anxiety attacks and the complex PTSD that led me to find the tools. And that was huge.
Because now you've built an entire career on that. And again, as we talked to earlier, the ripple effect of you being able to help others heal from going through this experience yourself and finding these tools and now helping others truly heal is so powerful. And I feel your passion for the work that you do. And I love that you do it because, of course, you took me under your wing as well. And I trained with you and absolutely love these tools and how they've positively impacted my life, as well as using them with clients to positively impact their life. And what I want to come back to that you were talking about was having your triggers removed or having your behaviors removed. And so for the audience, I just want to share what you're talking about there is working with the unconscious mind and being able to tap into the unconscious mind to change the neural pathways. And that's what you're referring to. And of course, all learning, all change, all behavior is happening in the unconscious mind. It is unconscious. Exactly. So love that. Thank you so much for sharing that story. And I want to ask you a question about that, because I know we can do this in different ways. Was your 10 hours a straight 10 hours in one session, or was it broken up over 5 2-hour sessions, or how did that work for you?
Mine was broken up over 5 2-hour sessions spread out 2 to 3 weeks apart. And that typically happens in a lot of trauma backgrounds. So there's a lot of getting your feet wet, building new doing the doings. So you build new muscle memory and you're supported a little longer. So mine was a little more spread out, but it was 5 2-hour sessions, which I massively benefit from. And I normally work with my people that way too.
Yeah. And I love that. And I love the fact that you said with trauma, you spread it out even a little bit longer, because it's the doings and the learning that happens between the sessions that is helping with the whole transformative process.
Yes.
That's why I was wondering if it was all 10. I know some people will do it in a 10-hour block, and it's a really long day and a powerful day. However, it can be done in weekly sessions or even spread out a little bit further where more transformation is needed between the sessions. So thank you for sharing that. So I would love to ask each of you, I ask all of my podcast guests this question, and I'm going to start with Dr. Toni. What does don't wait for your wake-up call mean to you?
It's so funny when I think about, again, your podcast title, Don't Wait for Your Wake-Up Call. I think about what would have happened if, as a teenager, I wouldn't have asked the question why. If I would have gone down a completely reasonable conventional medicine path, but hadn't really started this process of healing myself and really making it part of my life, to again have that ripple out to others. And so thankfully I did listen to my body in that sense and kind of started that question. So, and do you have to wait for, a big hammer over your head? Does it have to be hard? Or can we start to listen to the small messages of our body and our unconscious mind, our other bodies speaking through our physical body, of what works for you and what doesn't, how what behaviors you can do, how you can take care of yourself, what your self needs to really thrive instead of just getting by. So don't wait for your wake-up call is definitely like listening to your body, listening to the small whispers, so that you don't have to necessarily need the big shouts.
I love that. Thank you. And I will often say that listen when your body whispers, so it doesn't have to yell at you. And Dr. Liz, what does don't wait for your wake-up call mean to you?
I love that. I have to say, I love that. That means to me that I'm worth it. I think that was one of the things. When you're healing, you put yourself in the backbone, and healers are notorious. Women are notorious. They're in the backbone, in the back burner. My apologies, the back burner. And I'm worth it. I'm worth getting the life that I want. I'm worth investing in myself. I'm worth doing things that make me grow, regardless of what someone's saying outside of me. And my wake-up call is that I am worth it. Period. And no apologies or explanations required.
I love that. Thank you. You just gave me full body goosebumps. And this episode is episode 124. And that's the first time that somebody has just said that so beautifully, so succinctly. I'm worth it. I'm worth it. So Dr. Toni, if somebody wants to reach out to you to learn more about your work, how do they get hold of you?
Well, they can reach out to me on my website, drtonireid.com. Also, I am on Instagram at Dr. Toni Reid as well, so you can always reach out to me that way.
Thank you. And Dr. Liz?
Feel free to reach out on the website, www.bowenhealthinstitute.com, and add me on LinkedIn. I'm active at the main social platform on LinkedIn. So feel free to go add Dr. Liz Bowen, ND, a bunch of other things at the end of that. The Dr. Liz Bowen, ND. and message me on there. I'm constantly there, and I love connecting with people that way.
And that you do. And that is how we first connected. And look at what's come of that. So love that. Any last tips you'd like to leave the audience as we wrap up, Dr. Toni?
Again, like I would say, listen to the whispers. Look at, and even looking at doing a little inventory to see where aren't you putting yourself first in your life? What have you been ignoring? What have you been just kind of stuffing down? And just taking time to just check in and listen in the quiet to again see what's next on your journey and see what's really possible for you.
I love that. Very, very good advice. Thank you. And Dr. Liz?
You're more powerful than you give yourself credit for. Stop pretending that you're not. When you start owning the fact that you are a powerful, amazing human being who can do miracles and make them happen, your life changes. So let's just stop the charade that you're not and just own that you're magnificent.
What a beautiful way to wrap this show. I love it. You are magnificent. Take that away and own that starting today. Thank you, ladies, for coming on and sharing your wisdom, your expertise, your journeys, and how the Virtual Healing Hub came to be, and giving people hope on their healing journey, that perhaps they haven't tried everything yet. And perhaps there's something more that they can be tapping into so that they can become that magnificent person that they already are. They just don't know it yet. And to my audience, thank you as always for tuning in each and every week. And if this episode resonated with you, or you know someone in your life that needs to hear it, please share it with them. And I'll be back next week. If you're enjoying my content and someone that wants to step into being proactive in your health and learning more, I would love to invite you to join my membership community. There's a link in the show notes. For only $19.99 a month, you get access to all of my content, and there's a lot, as well as weekly calls that you can come and get your health questions answered. It's truly priceless. I'd love to see you join the community. Check out the link in the show notes.